What's on my mind at the moment is partnerships in creative work. I'm thinking of this as my first project that's been commissioned by an organisation is now out in the world. Shout out to Brighter Sound. They've been a really fun, cool bunch of people to work with on this. And I feel like it's been going really well so far. And it's got me thinking about some of the reasons why it's been going well and some points which would be interesting just to focus on, as I think little things can lead to big things, which is kind of naturally how I think anyway. The first point being communicating a concept simply and clearly, the overall and the detail step by step. So simply put, I'm doing a sample flip challenge. I'm making a short piece of music, which I'm calling a sample, inviting other people to make different versions of the song. They're going to have access to each layer of it and to simply submit it to me, and then I share it with Willie. And that's the concept. And with that, it was explaining it in that way, as I know this concept is very, very popular within hip hop. But this music organization, yes, they work with sort of hip hop artists, but then they work with a wide range. So it's communicated clearly, so it's not genre specific and it can be understood by everybody. So that's the concept overall. But then when I went through the details in my initial proposal of going through it step by step of what it looks like, of there's numerous sort of like touch points of explaining what it is and then showing an example, and then if people want to get involved, here are some cheap and free resources and here's how it was made, and everything, just to really outline the components of this project bit by bit so they can visualize how people will engage with it, as well as doing a bit of a post upload schedule around dates things are going to be posted, as well as the content, and putting that all in the documents, just having it really, really clear about what the concept is, so then they can help, really. And I think that was one of the strengths of my project, and one of the things I think which has helped it go well so far. Another point is just getting to know the people that you work with on this project. I mean, there's been a wide range of people I've worked with, but I think in getting to know them, it helps because it's understanding their skill set, their experiences, but then also it might trigger off sort of more ideas which could be implemented into the project. And then just on a personal level, if you build a rapport with somebody, you naturally want them to do well. If I was, if I didn't get to know them, if I was rude and impolite, then they'd be in this partnership, but they'd be doing it because they have to, instead of wanting to help me do well. And I felt a few benefits of having a good working rapport with this organisation. Of there's been extra little tweaks to what I've said, which has actually improved the impact of the project, which I didn't outline, but they've just put in. And I think that's because, yes, they take pride in their work because they're professionals, but essentially there's a bit of rapport. They kind of want to do a bit more to see it succeed, and that I'm really, really grateful for. And it just helps the project achieve what I want it to. A third point being just getting feedback and testing my assumptions, in that at each stage, asking lots of questions about my concept works in a couple of different ways. Of the more I talk about it, the more I'm trying to understand it, so it's making it as clear as possible and bypassing anything which may be a bit unclear. But then also from their point of view, if they're asking questions and they've got particular thoughts, they might have ideas which helps to actually improve the project in some way, shape or form, and they take an interest in it, so they're invested in it in some way. So actively asking for that feedback, I felt has really helped, and there's been points where it's helped to clarify the messaging. There was one consultant, shout out to Jess Partridge, which was about making it really, really clear, and we did an activity around clarity of social media posts, and on Twitter, on the thread, I was very clear to have thumbnails and a written description, and just her saying that made me think about it being absolutely clear visually and to read as well, which I think has helped communicate this concept, hopefully get as many people involved in it as possible. Another point is about being honest about what I will find valuable in the relationship. There's been a few Zoom calls and back and forth emails. I kind of joked on one of the Zoom calls in that, you know, the biggest help I could sort of get from Brighter Sound is to be paid in exposure. That's what I said in that. In terms of creating everything for the idea, I was pretty self-sufficient. I made the samples, I could play a few instruments, I made a beat, I made all of the thumbnails, and I made a how-to video. So in terms of making everything, and I was quite confident with that, and I delivered it on time. So that part, I was very much self-contained. The part which I want is to help spread the word of what people spread the word about myself and about the challenge, as I'm still growing my network and they have a much bigger network. So it's just helping to push it out to those platforms. And it's being honest about that has helped them to think about, oh, okay, you can push it out to this network and that network. And I've noticed it based on people responding to my posts, which again, I'm really, really grateful for. I don't think maybe they would have been as proactive as wanting to help me if I wasn't as honest about what I wanted to achieve with the project. And I think that's really helped it. And last but not least, just being polite. What I mean by that is I'm just one project out of lots of other things that they're working on. So not treating myself as a priority, and within that, being respectful of time. It's the reason why I was so adamant about outlining the outline of my project in a very clear, succinct way. I even created a private account and took screenshots of the posts uploaded. So not only do they see the schedule, but they see what it looks like as well. Because I want to make it as easy for them as possible, because yes, I want the project to do well, but then I'm also being respectful of their time as well, so there's less back and forth. So I'm just being respectful of that. And also there's been a few things here and there, like around flexibility, people's availability, annual leave, etc. So we've shifted the dates a bit around when the project would actually be live, and just being flexible with that, in that if I was very specific, yes, it needs to happen this time. Yes, I could say I'm being very specific to my original vision, but actually they're bringing it up because they want to support the project for it to be the best that it can be. So just being flexible with the timings of when the project was actually happened, when the project actually does happen, is ultimately going to help me. And then there's been a few adjustments here and there, a few sort of little posting issues, and just flagging it really, not saying that's wrong, what is that, but just sort of saying, oh yeah, that bit's not on the plan. Can you have a look into that, please? And they're being extremely responsive and very on it. And I feel like all of these things have helped it. The project so far being delivered in the best way, in that it's a sample flip challenge, but there's numerous posts. It's over a 2-week period. The deadline for anybody listening or watching to this is Tuesday the 31st of May, 11:59 p.m. That's Greenwich Meridian time. And get involved in you can. It's been a really cool process. There's going to be a post uploaded on Saturday, which I actually did a breakdown of how the original sample was made. So that, you know, here I'm just talking about my approach to the partnership and how I felt about the process. But actually the video, which is going to go live on Saturday, is breaking down how I made the sample bit by bit, me showing the bass line, the tabs, the chords, sharing my screen of how I created it in Logic. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, check my YouTube channel for that video then, and then you can have a look into what the creative process was like. And that's what's been on my mind at the moment. So thanks for listening and watching, really appreciate it, and I'll see what next week brings. Take care.